Hi, I'm Eleanor and today I'm going to talk to you about how I process alpaca. This is going to be a video showing how I go from raw alpaca to how I go to nice, clean, finished locks. So raw alpaca is straight off the animal. This is just a fleece of alpaca. As you can see, it's quite dirty. It's got some bits in it. We're going to try and solve that. I'm going to turn it into locks, which are like this. And then by the end of it, after I've washed it, I should have clean alpaca that's ready to turn into a reroot. For me, I like to wash the alpaca after I've combed it. That's a personal preference. Personally, I feel as though if you wash it beforehand, the roots of the hair can get a bit more matted together because of the soap and because of the hot water. So if I brush it first and they're all facing the right way, I find I get less matting. But that is a personal preference. I hope you enjoy this video and I hope it's helpful. So to start off, you'll need some alpaca to sort out. You'll need a weighing scales to weigh it. You'll need a bowl to put it in. Some little loom bands or elastic bands to tie it all together. And a brush to comb it. Here I have some dirty alpaca straight off the animal. And what I'm looking for is tails. So when I find a little tail, I hold on to the rest of the alpaca and I pull it out. Ooh, that one was stiff. And then I've got myself a lock of alpaca. So I'll put that to the side. The reason I hold on to the rest of the alpaca is because I don't want it all to become one big mess. So I've got myself another tail. And I'm going to pull that out. And I'm just going to keep going and work my way through here. Now that I've separated them out somewhat, I'm going to take my brush. Again, I'm just using the same dog shedding brush that I usually use. And I'm going to take them, I'll move these ones out of the way. I'm going to twist it around my finger and I'm going to start combing it out. When I brush it, I try and go from the very tips until there's no resistance. And I work my way up. One of the reasons that I like to cut the ends at their shortest point is because if you don't, it can get quite hard to tell which side is your root and which side is your tip, because once brushed out it gets a little bit messy. So I always like to spread it out and see about how short the shortest ones are, cut it off. That way, super easy to see, root, tip. I like to keep the ends together two different ways. Sometimes I'll use an elastic band and I'll wrap this around it. Currently I mostly do this if it's going to stay this colour. Or the other thing I like to do is use some shrink tube. This is for electrical wires. This isn't the type that's used for hair extensions, because the hair extension ones have glue on the inside and these ones don't. And then I'll twist the hair about and pop it in to my shrink tube. And I want my tube to be just at the very end. And then I use my hair straighteners on a low heat and I shrink that tube. And there we go. I like to do this one because it means that when you wash it, it stays together, and when you dye it and it's in a reasonably hot heat, instead of popping like the elastic bands do, it stays together. You might be wondering, oh well, what happens about the end? Does that not get dyed? Does that not get washed? The very end it will get cut off after I've tied the knot, so I'm not worried about it. So normally I would do this in the bathroom or in the laundry room sink, but in my house they're both really dark rooms, so I didn't think you'd be able to see. So now I've got them, and they can be elastic banded, or you could use the shrink method like I've used here. And I'm going to try and wash them. So I've got some warm water. You can just fill up a sink for this, or if you'd rather, you can fill up a tub. It's quite hot water, but it's not too hot that I can't touch it. I'm going to try and get all of the hair soaked through, because this is an outdoor farm animal, so it isn't clean. Then I just take dish soap and just use a little bit. I've been asked before, is dish soap not too harsh? Does it not make it dry? No, it doesn't. It seems to be absolutely fine. I don't know if I would recommend dish soap for washing alpaca that had been already cleaned and already processed, but I find it's absolutely fine to get the farmyard muck off. And you'll notice the water quite quickly change colour, and then all the little bits of grass and stuff become a bit more visible now that it's cleaner. So I'll give another tiny bit of soap, and I'm not massaging it in very hard because I don't want to felt the hair. I'm just trying to get it in there. And again, just running it through the hair. Okay, now I'm going to leave that to soak for a bit. Then I'll give it another rinse, and then I'll wash it through with some clean water. Okay, so now comes the weighing scales. I'm going to turn them on. I'm going to put this on, balance it to 0. Sorry, I know you can't really see that. I can see it. And then my now dry alpaca that we just washed earlier, I'm going to pop that in and see what it comes to. And I've got 1/4 ounce. So this alpaca is very long. This would be floor length on a Blythe. So I would need 2 ounces of this. So I would keep going until I had a pile that looked a bit more like this. And then I've got enough alpaca for my reroot. So that's all from me today. I hope that was helpful. And if there's any more questions you have, feel free to pop them down below, or you can head over to my Instagram because I check that a little bit more often, and pop them over there. If there is any kind of videos you'd like me to make, anything you'd like to see, just drop me a comment so I know what you're after. Hopefully I'll make a few more of these videos, and by the end of it we'll all be rerooting experts.